I'm Neil from the Starling Tribune, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the one you're listening to now. The opinions expressed are those of the individual host. Check out all the other great podcasts at gonnageek.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
This is it. The part of your week where you get to put your headphones on, relax, and listen to a bunch of geeks geek out about geeky things. They're passionate.
Did you know Magic Mike XXL is actually on the top 25 list of this year's best movie?
They're witty.
He loves him some Katy Perry because she kissed a girl and she liked it.
They're crazy.
I like Nickelback personally, but, I'm the fuddy-duddy who likes episode 1.
And sometimes I leave you wondering, what the f***?
I'm pretty sure that here we were starting the hashtag movement, Bring Back Slave Ferrell.
Welcome to the GonnaGeek.com podcast.
Hello and welcome to episode 141 of the official GonnaGeek.com podcast. My name is Stephen Jondrew, and with me today is the one and only, the legendary, the super, the terrific Chris Ferrell.
I'm super. I like this.
We also have the Batman of this podcast. Some might call him Superman. Let's just call him Batman versus Superman, Stargate Pioneer.
Hey, everybody, if you want to hear where those great intro bits are from, go to gonnageek.com show number 124.
I think I chose one from 123. And we also have back with us today, he is returned from his concert, the concert of Justin Trudeau. We have the one and only French-Canadian sensation.
Hello, everybody.
How's it going, folks?
It's going because I don't have to watch Batman versus Superman again. Yes!
I have not watched it, and my interest has faded. I was very interested for a while because I thought maybe I was wanting to decide on which side that I was going to go with, but I just decided that it's just more fun to sit back and watch you all hate on it.
Team Iron Man.
Team Martha.
Well done, JS.
Well played.
Team Martha.
Alrighty, so we have basically a full show ahead of us, so we're just going to go and dive into the news. Shall we do that?
Let's do it.
Alrighty. All right, so news this week. I will start us off. We are going to ask the question, is it still a podcast if it's on the radio? What do you guys think of that?
Well, it doesn't have an RSS feed, so no, it does not.
Where this
Some radio shows do, though.
Well,
the BBC and the CBC have.
Well, where this stems from is a local radio station, not local, like local if you are in the vicinity of KXAX radio, which apparently decided that they were going to use insecure passwords, 8-digit insecure passwords, and some hackers hacked these passwords and ended up airing a furcast. That's right, a furry podcast. And the owner is quoted as saying, the host of the podcast, quote, talked about sex with two guys and a girl in explicit detail and rambled on with vulgar language. Now, you think that that's bad that they got one station? No, apparently this station is picked up and simulcast on many other stations, and thus it hit a few different stations because those were all compromised as well. So, yeah, apparently they used a 6-character password, to which I say WTF.
Wow, that's fantastic.
To which I say FCC fines for all the adult language.
Yeah, I think this happened.
Well, it depends. Was it during safe harbor hours or not?
I think this happened in Michigan. But yeah, that was pretty interesting to me to see them decide to air. I think it was called the Furcast. I think that's the name of it. But
JS, this was your podcast, right? You couldn't get the rights to Dr. JS, so you started the Furcast, right?
No, I dislike furries completely. I really, 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 really don't like those people. I'm sorry. If you dress up as a cuddly animal to, I'm going to straight up say it, entertain children. I'm sorry. I don't want to go further because I'm going to offend people, but I'm very against furries. Very against. I see them at Comic-Con. They hang out at the entrance and they give out free hugs. I'm out. I'm out.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, I can't say I'm into the furries either, but you know, I will get behind this podcast because it was used on a hacked radio station, and hacking radio stations is always a good idea, right?
I think if they get caught, there's actual prison time consequences in the States.
Well, the hosts claim that they weren't involved with this, that it was actually somebody who just decided to take this podcast and put it on there. So apparently it was not them, but I don't know. Do you believe it?
Good luck telling the FBI that.
Yeah. Did they get hacked? Like they got hacked and then somebody put something on it, or someone put something on?
Yeah.
Okay. So
this was an exploit, quote unquote, linked to a barracks box transmission device. And as I mentioned, apparently two of the devices targeted in this attack are thought to have been protected by relatively weak 6-character passwords. I know.
Okay.
I know.
ABC like 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, and Suncast is educating us that it was not Michigan. So, yeah. I don't know.
Well, darn.
Aww.
I like that idea.
Did too.
It was Texas.
That would fit Michigan.
It was Texas. I looked up the radio station.
Oh, that's even more hilarious if it's a Texas radio station that was airing a furry program.
Yeah.
Because you know some of those Bible thumpers down there were freaking out over it.
Oh, that's for sure. A lot of people freak out, man. People freak out when radios or TV stations get hacked. There's a couple of videos on YouTube if you Google that, TV stations like most impressive hacks. There's been 3 that I remember very vividly that were scared the crap out of people. So one of them was a fake zombie announcement. So there was that beep, beep, like that global federal
emergency
broadcast. There you go. So there was one about zombies. I don't remember where it was, but it emergency broadcasted that there was the dead were coming back to life, which freaked the hell out of people. Obviously, the Orson Welles broadcast.
Yeah,
which really
and then there was my favorite, Max Headroom.
Yeah,
Max.
But that's not the one. That's not the one. The one that you're talking about. They hacked twice in the same night, and it was a guy with a mask.
Oh, that's right. It was a guy with a mask.
It's a guy with a mask, and he says, "Ride the wave," and he doesn't have a Coke. He has a Pepsi can, and he chucks the Pepsi can. And then he, in the second broadcast, his pants are down and he's getting paddled. And they never, he's getting, and they never found, there it is.
If you're watching the video side of things, we do have it going on. And I remember it was like believed to have been like a piece of corrugated steel being rotated back and forth.
Rotated in the back.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's insane.
That one's legendary. But yeah, happened again. So shocking.
And there's one in the UK where it's supposedly they don't have a real recording of it, but it's someone from the Intergalactic Space Federation telling us to stop shooting and killing each other, or else we're going to be eliminated. Scared the hell out of a lot of people.
So in the chat, Suncast says supposedly this was a hack done to teach the stations a lesson in security. Yeah, I hope so. If you're using a 6-character weak password on your broadcast system.
There was that time that Zod took over all of the broadcast stations on the entire planet.
You know what? I'll bet that the password was pass01. That's what I'm going to guess that it was.
I think it's PASS123.
And damn it, Chris, now you have to change your password.
Or
That's your password you assigned me for GonnaGeek.com. You get ready. All my podcasts are going to get replaced by FurryCast now, I bet. Because they've got my password.
That's okay.
And
they'll probably be better production quality than my podcasts anyways.
Steven, you're going to have to change your luggage locks.
Oh, nice reference to an old movie.
1, 2.
What kind
3,
of idiot
4.
puts that password? Oh, I need to change my luggage.
That's Spaceballs, by the way, for those people that don't get the reference.
All right, so let's move on to the next news point. And apparently, WVU is droning on, aren't they, Chris?
So they are. There was a really cool article in the local newspaper today, which I did not read in the newspaper, but read online, which was all about drones and how the WVU football team is now making use of drones to videotape their practice. I wanted to bring this up because we talked about it before on this podcast about drones, how you're going to have to get an FAA license and things like that. So what led to this is the head coach of WVU's football team is Dana Holgerson. His son has one of the hobbyist drones he's been playing with. It was taking random videos around the neighborhood. And he kind of thought, this might be really cool for football. So he went and talked to his video coordinator by the name of Kyle Butler, who's 11 months in the job and 27 years old, about getting a drone. So what did he do? He went to Best Buy, bought a drone, came back, registered it with the FAA, and got himself a tail number he printed on it. That's the main thing I wanted to bring up first. It was, in fact, registered because he has to, and he has now been flying it at spring football practice. WVU has been posting videos of some of this. They did an aerial tour of the stadium because they're doing construction there. But one of the things I thought was really cool is where they're conducting spring practice is about 5 miles away from the regional airport. So in order to fly this drone every day, he has to call into the regional airport, let them know he's making the drone take off, ask if it's okay, and they tell him, just stay below 400 feet and we'll call you if there's an issue. So kind of cool. Drones in action for just other stuff you wouldn't expect, and they're using it to tape football practice so that players and coaches can get a better view of things. I think it's awesome.
I could see this being big in like marching band practices and formations, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because then you can show real time to everybody, hey, look, this is what it looks like. And you could probably beam it. I don't know the technology involved, but you could probably beam it to everybody's phone through an app or something. Like, sure. Okay, this is what the last practice swipe looked like. You need to get your line straighter or something like that.
Yeah.
So sports, music, festivals. I mean, there's an unlimited amount of looks into this. You could probably even, in the summertime, if you're out on a lake and you're water skiing or whatever, you can take great shots with that. But of course, if something goes wrong, the drone's going to go in the drink.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. That's one of the things he brought up. He said that there have been days during spring practice he has not been able to fly the drone because it has been too windy and he would not be able to keep it under control. And I think I read elsewhere in the article was kind of cool is they're not the first here at WVU to do it. It's been explored by a few people, but there are a lot of campuses and things like that where they live in restricted airspace and things like that, where folks cannot fly drones to do these things. Luckily, the area in which spring practice and the WVU Mountaineer Field is situated, they are allowed to fly drones with approval from the Morgantown Airport.
And let's face it, WVU needs all the help that they can get.
I see how it is.
Go Gophers.
So
let's go Mountaineers.
Here's the thing. Like I now, because of the excess, well, I guess not really excess, but the great utilization of drones in video and TV and all this stuff now, I find myself analyzing shots during TV shows. Like the opening of this past week's Better Call Saul was a big long shot. Like the premise was that it was the beginning of a border, and it goes from before the border gates all the way through inspection and everything like that. And it's just so obvious that they did that with the drone. It's just like the way that it's going up and down and all around different things. It's just so obvious they did it with the drone. And I just love the visuals that they can do with that. And it's something for a while that I've thought, why are they not doing this more in sports? Because NFL has the suspended cam, but a drone just gives you so much more freedom.
I think they're afraid that they're also afraid that the drone fails during a game and it falls on the field. That'd be really
that's
bad.
why you're not going to see it in a lot of bigger situations, because insurance says that's kind of a big deal if the drone falls on people. And you were mentioning a lot of drone footage and things you're seeing. The last season of Mythbusters, they relied heavily on drones for a lot of their aerial shots instead of helicopters and things like that. It's really cool to see a lot of the drone footage they got on Mythbusters.
No, I agree. It's showing up everywhere.
I like drones. I want to get one. To me, drones are almost like the advent of the internet, but for photography and movies. Kind of.
There's a lot more dangers with a drone than me downloading a song off Napster, though. If I had ever done that. What I mean is
it's changed. I think it's a tool, or it's an item. It's not as close to the internet, because I do believe that the internet now should be a necessary utility. Like you could almost not live your life without the internet. But the drone is almost it's a technology that's brought so much advance to a field. I mean, you could do a lot of stuff for very cheap on a drone, where back in the days you had to rent a helicopter.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's why a lot of these shots that you're seeing now, it's nice because it's essentially combining what you would need, like a helicopter or maybe even an ATV in combination with the boom. And they're able to pull off these awesome long shots now. And I think that this is a great example of why drones are, like, I genuinely feel they are a great thing to have in our lives.
And you can also bring them into environments that would not permit, like, a helicopter. I've seen some beautiful drone shots of opera houses and stuff like that. You could never get that shot any other way.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
No, I agree.
I really want one. I want one. I must admit, it's not just the drone, the advent of the drone that's changed that whole industry. I think the fact that you get cameras like the GoPros, and cameras that can shoot in 4K at that size.
Right.
I mean, it's many things, but it is very revolutionary in my opinion. For the price, I mean, you can get something for like $3,000 that's spectacular.
Absolutely. Well, very cool, Chris, and I'm glad you brought that up, because this is a great follow-up to our previous discussions on drones, and I really like the registration tie-in as well. Very cool.
That was the thing I read in that article the most, that popped out at me the most. We talked about that, and we had a pretty decent argument about whether that should or shouldn't be the case. Yeah, including some listener feedback on the YouTube side.
That's true. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into SP's news. SP, what do you got with SpaceX receiving a big one?
Well, first of all, I want to say I want a new drone, one that does what it should, one that won't make me sick or make me feel too thick.
Audio listener, you can't see us shaking our head at SP right now. That's what we are doing. In fact, I think we're walking away.
Walk away, guys. That's fine. JS and I can do the rest of the podcast ourselves. So one of the things that JS and I were talking about before we started the podcast was the amazing feat that SpaceX finally pulled off. And yes, what we were talking about is the recent Falcon 9 launch. We talked about it last week. They were launching the Bigelow module up to the space station with the Dragon capsule, along with a bunch of supplies, that sort of thing. Well, the launch went off, and the first stage of the rocket came down on the barge. It was so cool. You see a chase plane video of it, and at first you're like, oh, this is like a model or a CGI or whatever, but then the plane starts to get closer and does a sort of circle around the barge, and you see how much the barge is actually tipping. It was rough seas, and they put the thing down not on the center but close to the center. It was on the in the middle of the two rings, the middle ring and the outer ring, but it went down on the barge, and it stayed up. It didn't topple down, it didn't explode, it didn't topple over. The barge stayed flat. It's awesome. And they get to reuse this first stage. Well done, SpaceX. And you even got the President Obama to congratulate you. So that is how fun this one was.
So what I gathered from that story is that they did not achieve what they desired to. They missed the mark, and thus they failed. That's what I picked up of it.
Apollo 11 missed the mark. So, I mean, the first landing on the moon, we still got there, though. So, hey, this is a great first step.
You say tomato, I say squish tomatoes.
I say
Squish
they
tomatoes.
just saved at least $20 million.
That's if they can reuse it. Did they say that it's reusable?
It is.
Yeah,
I mean, by design, it's supposed to be.
No, by design.
Yeah.
I agree, but in practice, by design, it's supposed to land on the barge. They've missed 152 times.
Yeah, it's not that, 5 times, not 152 times.
All right, fair enough.
And Elon Musk said, I think almost everything on the stage will be good for 10 or 20 missions. And with minor refurbishment, you could get to 100. Now, I don't really believe that, Mr. Musk, but if you believe that and can make it possible, good on you, sir. I can't wait to see it happen.
So I'm just kidding, by the way. I do think that this is really cool, and I'm glad to see them succeed because it has been heartbreak after heartbreak after heartbreak. So very nice to finally see.
They have landed it on land before,
Yes.
and when it came back to the Cape, but they've never actually managed to get it on the barge. They've had rocket misfires. They had a leg go off. They had a really hard hit, and they were like, yeah, we didn't think it was going to work, but we tried it anyway, because if it would have worked, that would have been great. So I think with the launches with certain velocities that you're able to get the rocket stage back, then it's going to be fine. The issue, though, as a customer, do I really want my stuff on a reused first stage? And while it might save you money, these launch dates come few and far between. These satellites are, in some cases, billions of dollars. It's just a high risk to just save like $20 million, but you're going to have some commercial applications that are going to say, hey, look, we'll go for it, and we'll take the insurance in case it blows up, and we'll just make a new one, and it'll just push our timeline to the right a little bit. So it is something that everybody is really looking forward to seeing how this will go off. And oh, by the way, the result of this was the Dragon capsule on Sunday morning was able to link up with the space station. And if you saw the video, you saw for the first time ever, the space station had 2 commercially developed space resupply capsules docked to it for the first time. You had the Cygnus capsule, and then you had the Dragon capsule. They were right there.
And the Russian one was there too.
Yeah, the Soyuz,
Yes.
It wasn't a Progress, it was Soyuz, and they have to have that Soyuz up there
Right.
to have a emergency crew evacuation vehicle up there. But it was the first time that you had 2 commercially developed space capsules attached to the International Space Station.
So if you get a chance, check out the article on space.com that has some of the pictures the astronauts tweeted from the International Space Station, and it is just gorgeous shots of these vehicles coming to dock, and then the one iconic shot they have of 3 vehicles in a row parked at the space station. It is incredible. It is a beautiful shot, and how cool is it the astronauts get to tweet stuff like that?
Yeah. Has there ever been 3 at one time up there?
But yeah, there's been
Has there?
3, a couple of Progress and a Soyuz
No, I didn't
or
know
whatever.
that. I didn't know
But
that.
there's never been 2 commercially developed capsules
That's
up
very
there.
cool.
Yeah, and the other thing is there was a wonderful shot from the International Space Station looking at the launch, and you get to see the scale of what this huge rocket is compared to its flame, which is about 5 times as long as the rocket, and then the long trail coming out of the cloud bank, and then the shadow of the contrail and on the cloud bank and the rocket and everything. It's just an amazing shot, and it's from the International Space Station. I'll try to find a link to it, and so we can put it in the show notes. It is just
awesome.
an amazing view. Yep.
Very
I think
cool.
it's posted on the Gonna Geek Facebook page, so just go to the Gonna Geek Facebook page. You should find it.
Facebook.com/Gonna Geek.
Gonna Geek.
All right, and that does take us to our miscellaneous news roundup. And the reason why we had that was because both Chris and SP were torn this week on which articles they wanted to talk about. So since Chris is walking away from his chair and the audio listener would have no idea if I didn't point it out, thus I pointed it out. SP, what do you have for your other news right now?
Well, the Kepler spacecraft, which we talked about before, and its planet hunting mission, and it went into emergency mode. Now it's out of emergency mode now, and it is continuing on with its new mission, but it was in a mode of emergency, and meaning all available radio telescopes were pointed towards the spacecraft so that they had communication time with it. And I have not seen exactly what was wrong with it, how they got it out of emergency mode yet, but this is just an example. The stuff goes into space, and whatever utilization you get out of it is what you get, and then anything after that is bonus. And in this case, it's in bonus mode, and they were able to save it, so it's bonus mode. So that's cool. And then also,
it was probably a Windows update, wasn't it?
Either that or, Linux
mandatory
or
Windows
something.
10 upgrade.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
How do we roll back?
I can't do it from 75 million miles away. So, little did we know that Mars Odyssey this week had a record-breaking mission time slot. So, yes, it's been circling the red planet for the longest time. I believe it is 15 years. And it is amazing what that has done, sensing the planet of Mars. So well done, Mars Odyssey. Whoever put that thing together knew that what they were doing, and it has been operating exquisitely. And, that's pretty much it for the news roundup. Although later I do want to talk about some GonnaGeek.com host goodness.
Awesome.
Ooh.
And Chris, what did you have for your secondary article that you were debating on this week? Because I know you had one other thing to toss into the roundup here.
Oh, I had to stop and think for a second. I do remember now. So if you guys remember back when episode 7 was announced and they showed that big round table cast picture of them all doing the script table read. If you guys remember, Mark Hamill was in that picture. And if you guys have seen episode 7, okay, spoiler alert for those that haven't, Mark Hamill doesn't have a speaking line in the movie whatsoever. So if you go back to that table read photo, you're like, Mark Hamill had it pretty daggum easy there. He didn't have to do anything. Well, no, J.J. Abrams said in one of these special features, I guess, for the movie that they knew they had a talent there in Mark Hamill. They wanted him to be there for that picture because it was only right that Mark was there for it. And they needed to figure out what he could do. So they used the voice actor, very accomplished voice actor, as the narrator for the episode 7 table read. So he did have a part to play. The Joker was the narrator. I wish he did it in Joker voice.
He probably did.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Speaking of Star Wars, let's take a quick moment to talk about how Rogue One trailer dropped, and I am super excited for that. I actually think I'm more excited for that than I am the continuation of The Force Awakens.
Do we think there's going to be a Grand Admiral Thrawn?
No, he's not. He doesn't exist anymore.
Well, I mean, they could still call him Thrawn. Just to nod. He is a Grand Admiral.
Well, his rank is Admiral when you go and check the rankings online. He is in the uniform of a Grand Admiral, but the rank on his chest reads Admiral, not Grand Admiral.
Are you sure?
I tend to think that there's likely going to be a relation to somebody in the existing universe. I don't know. I think that there's going to be somebody. It'll be, I don't know. Maybe it'll be Poe's ma.
You think it'll be Mr. Snooki?
No, you've already met Poe Dameron's parents if you've read the comics.
You think it's Snooki?
Yes, it's Snooki.
It is.
Snooki wants snoo.
It's the Snooki. Snooki.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're gonna end up with some form of relation, but I actually, I hope not, because I think that this looks like a really, really, really great solo set of characters, essentially.
So if you want the rumor, The rumor is
it is an admiral rank. Boo!
Yes. So the rumor is okay, I'm going to talk over Jazz here for a second. The rumor is that Star Wars Rebels is going to feed into Rogue One. And if you're familiar with Rebels, the cartoon, it takes place between episode 3 and 4, and we're getting closer and closer to episode 4 in that timeline.
I heard about that on what's the name of that program. I don't know, but before we do move on to our next segment, I want to remind you that we are part of a geeky network. It is called the GonnaGeek.com network. You can find us at GonnaGeek.com. And in the latest Nerd Alert news, Chris Ferrell talks about the Star Wars Rogue One trailer. Lots of great things to be said. Michelle Ely as well as Naki join him to discuss this. And there is a lot of really, really good theories thrown about there. Chris, if you have not checked it out, I encourage you to check out Nerd Alert News.
Alert News. We'll read about Dr. Snooky.
All right, let's go ahead and move into the next point or the next segment. Should we do that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
I'm just hoping it's Thrawn and they do it. I hope they do it. They got the man. He's got the white suit.
I don't know who Thrawn is.
He is technically the follow-up emperor.
He's not the emperor either.
He was emperor. Technically,
he was
emperor.
not emperor. Why do you guys crap all over the old canon?
It is so easy to rile up Star Wars fans. So easy. But seriously, let's go ahead and move into the next segment.
What started out as a simple Facebook debate quickly turned into an expletive-filled off-air Skype battle between our hosts. It's time to settle this argument once and for all, and finally find out who is the bigger geek. It's time for Geek Wars.
That's right. It is Geek Wars time. Time for us to put the wars into the geek. No, we are not talking about the Star Wars. Well, perhaps maybe there's a Star Wars question. Who knows? Who knows? But no, we are talking about the battle of the geeks. We're going to find out which of these three are the bigger geeks. I have prepared a series of questions. And what the way that it will work is I will ask these questions and people will chime in by using some form of random sound, because I always say use your names and then they don't use their names. They just turn it into...
Should I fire up my soundboard for this?
Sure, why not? Why not? So we will all chime, but remember, if I don't know who's chiming in, well, it's your loss. So they will chime in, then they will have a chance to answer. And as you may recall, yesterday was a made-up holiday called Sibling Day, right?
Made-up holiday.
Was it a Hallmark holiday?
It was a Hallmark holiday, and thus I have decided to make this the sibling edition of Geek Wars. That's right. The questions will be about siblings. It will be a movie or a television show, and I will expect you to say said movie or television show and the name of the siblings. You will get a point each. So if you do guess the TV show and the correct name of the siblings, you will end up getting, you'll get 1 point for the sibling name, you'll get 1 point for the TV show or movie. So then you will end up getting 2 points. I've made it very difficult for myself, haven't I?
I have no idea what you just said.
All right, should we start it off here?
Okay.
Sure, let's do this. I think I know what's going on.
All right. We'll go with a lightweight one at first. Played by the same actor, one of these siblings were very emotional, while the other had no emotions.
Chris.
All right, Chris, what do you got?
So you want the actor's name, correct?
I want the name of the TV show or movie and the name of the siblings.
Star Trek The Next Generation, Data, and Lore.
Yeah.
Really? Lore had no emotion?
Lore had an emotion chip.
One of them was emotional. The other had no emotions.
That was the big thing, is Data wanted the emotion chip. Lore got it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then Data gets it after.
That was my easy one. I'm worried for you guys
now. He puts
now.
it in Generations.
Yeah, and then it solders in it and he cowers away.
And remember, when he puts it away in TNG, it's like the size of like a Pentium 2 processor. And then when he gets it out, it's like the size of your thumbnail in Generations. Very good continuity. Very good continuity.
Steven, are we really going to critique Star Trek for its continuity? Let's be honest here.
Fair enough. All right, question number 2. They say that people grow closer once they've been through trauma together. One would assume that being electrocuted by a fence and almost being eaten by dinosaurs at your uncle's park would bring you together.
Jurassic Park.
Oh,
I don't remember the kids' names. Yeah.
Oh, it was the girl and the boy.
Is anybody
and the girl was the hacker.
Anybody going to chime in?
Do I lose points if I'm wrong?
Did you know that in the original script of the new Jurassic Park movie, they were one of those siblings was supposed to be like the parents of the new kids, and it was cut out.
All right, so nobody's gonna guess here.
No.
All right,
nope, I don't want to lose points.
You wouldn't have lost points because I'll remind you. Can we sing
the Jurassic Park soundtrack?
I will remind you. You get 1 point for the name of the show or the movie, and you get 1 point for the name of the siblings. Go ahead, Chris.
Oh
no! Jurassic Park, D-Bag 1 and D-Bag 2.
Half right. So we'll give you one of these. A muted bell.
I said Jurassic Park,
but you didn't chime
in.
Yeah, I did. I made a noise.
Lex and Tim Murphy, was that it?
It was. Yeah, it was Lex and Tim. It was Lex and Tim.
Oh,
I think they go by Lexi and Timmy. I don't know, something like that.
Lexi and Tim, I think, or something like that. I don't remember. Yeah.
I think she calls him Timmy.
I don't know. I'm gonna take my 3 points and I'm gonna win.
Alrighty, next.
I'm not playing for a tie this week.
The next one. These siblings brought us a mind-bending concept that made us question our reality. The effects of this trilogy were incredible for the time. I still can't bend the spoon with my mind.
The Matrix trilogy, the Wachowski siblings.
Well done. I thought I was going to trick you there.
They're two females now.
Two females. They're both female now.
They're both females?
Yes,
they're both females.
I think it was last month the second one announced.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
well, good for them.
So Chris is now at 5.
Total domination.
There you go.
I'm playing with actual tools. Like, I've never used tools in my life. This is how much I give a shit.
All right, next question here. A trio of daughters. These characters grew up in a house with their dad and 2 uncles, one of which you don't seem to age. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Full House.
Would you like to name the daughters?
Who gives one? Who gives 2?
Chris, I want this follow-up.
All right, go ahead, Chris.
DJ, Stephanie, and Michelle.
Yes, JS gets 1. Chris gets another.
I got a point.
I'm thinking about taking away a point for JS's swearing.
I'm
sure
sorry. I
that.
called Jurassic Park earlier, and you didn't give me a point. So suck it, Trebek.
Fair.
With your Dago mustache.
All right, next one here, and we've got 2 more after this. One is a young farm boy trying to help the family make enough to put buns on the table. The other puts buns on her head.
Chris.
Go ahead, Chris.
Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, Luke Skywalker, and Leia Organa.
You are destroying it today, Chris. I am thoroughly impressed. Wow. This just goes to show all of the amount of times we've played this game, how much Chris has held back.
Did you know that Luke and Leia are a GSA couple?
A GSA?
It's actually, yeah, you Googled that.
Okay, I don't think I want
Golf
to. So.
Sierra Alpha couple. Yeah.
Oh, Justice Society of America couple. I got you.
It's actually researched. It's documented. It's real.
All righty.
How effed up is that?
Next one here. We know that JS doesn't have a chance at this one. One was an instant fan favorite. The other, a fan hated. These redneck brothers were separated together even though the youngest tried to find the oldest to give him a hand.
JS rings in.
Was that JS? No, that was SP with his soundboard because I can see it in my multi-track recorder right here.
I thought it was JS. It looked like he pushed a button as that went off.
The SP track, and now I have to jot down the time code because I have to go edit that in because it'll be on your other track. Nobody wants to guess? Okay, I'll give you another hint here.
That
was your buzzer. Sorry.
Yeah.
All right, what do you have, SP?
The Dukes of Hazzard.
No, that was not. That was
Bo
not.
And Luke Duke.
No.
Aww.
I'll give you another one. One's still on the show. The other's a zombie.
Oh, Chris.
Oh, if this is a Walking Dead thing, this is not.
It is The Walking Dead. It is Daryl and Merle
cool.
Dixon.
Not cool.
JS,
cool.
I said you didn't have a chance at that one. So Chris is at 10. JS is at 1. SP is at, let me tally the 7 minus the 7, and he's at 0. And
I'm not negative.
The final question. These sisters made the hop from the small screen to the big screen. Both their ridges and their boob windows spanned generations.
Chris.
All right, Chris.
Star Trek: The Next Generation / Star Trek Generations. Lursa and Betor. I can't say her name right. Klingons from the House of Duras.
Yes,
they're from the House of Duras. I remember now.
Somebody follows Star Trek on Facebook. Hello.
I did write that one down. Actually, that was what gave me the idea for Geek Wars. I'm not gonna lie.
That's horrible.
You guys can all just bow down before me right now.
All right, so we're gonna add it up here, and we had a whopping 12.
That's the highest score
for Chris.
That's the highest score anybody has ever had on this show. You know that's never going to be beat,
I'm impressed, Chris. I'm going to give you an extra bell for that.
JS, had you just let me have that other one you got half right, we'd have been okay. I could have shut you both out.
Well done, Chris. Well done.
I'm going to step down now that I have won and never compete again because I'll never be able to reach this high peak again. Gentlemen, I'm off the HGH now.
I would like Chris to piss in a cup so that we can test if there was any drug enhancing performance.
Will this work?
Thingamage.
Yeah. Are you going to test over the internet?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
All right, give me a minute.
2 podcast hosts and a cup.
All right. Well, great job, Chris. I am very impressed with your ability to do. Oh, God. He's pretending to drink his urine on audio listener.
Because it's sterile and it's warm.
It's sterile.
And I like
You're
it.
okay. Bear Grylls taught me it's okay.
It's sterile until it leaves the body. Once it leaves the body, it's no longer sterile. Just FYI.
All right, well, that does wrap up Geek Wars. I know before we do wrap up, we will do our usual thing where we go around the table and we talk about what we want to talk about. SP, I know you had something Gonna Geek related that you wanted to talk about, so we'll start with you.
Yes, I do. We talked about this before. What we have is a giant list of everywhere that Gonna Geek hosts and bloggers, whatever, are going to be at conventions coming up. And it's been a couple months since we did this, so I just want to run down the quick list here. So coming up this weekend, we're going to have Peter Melnick at East Coast Comic Con. That is April 16th and 17th, so you can find him there. At the MegaCon, which is Memorial Day weekend here in the United States, May 26th and 29th, Adam is going to be there, and it is in Orlando. That very same weekend in Houston, you will see Lauren Labrat. Agent Lauren, I guess. Lauren, sorry, Lauren. I think your name is Lauren. Anyway, she is going to be at Space City Con that same weekend, so go find her there. And then Kier Hansen is going to be at Awesome Con, which is a general geek con. It's put on by the same guy that do like Li Who, and that will be June 3rd and 5th. And then Labrat Lauren will be at Comic Palooza, and we are a podcast participant on Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Comic Palooza. on June 17th and 19th. And then the next cons that we have will be later in July. So we'll be going over those in June. But I just wanted to tell everybody where some Gonna Geek hosts are going to be in the coming months.
I will be attending the Stephen Jondrew Household Con this Friday. And I also, on Saturday, will be attending the Outside of JS's Houses in the Bush Con.
Well, isn't that every weekend for you?
Pretty much.
Yep, thought so. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you very much for that, SP. That's great. And I do appreciate you continuing to track that, because I know that you were the one that created the sheet and have been the one that has been keeping everybody in the loop to make sure that that gets on there. So thank you very much for that. That's great.
You bet.
All right, Chris, you got anything you want to plug or promote?
So there is a chance I might be at the Steel City Con this weekend. If anyone's going, tweet at me, let me know, and I will try and meet up with you. Other than that, typical thing I always say, go check out all the other awesome shows over on the Gonna Geek Network. We've got something for everyone.
Awesome. And JS, would you like to talk about Tabletopia?
Oh, I do want to talk about Tabletopia. How did you know?
I'm magical. I'm magical that way. The bushes. Yeah, I was outside your house in the bushes.
That's you probably have cameras in my house now.
Only
inside the Superman toy right there.
Yeah, that's all that. Yeah, no, that toy's not in the bathroom.
Oh, no, I don't have toys in the bathroom. Tabletopia, very cool app. Came out a couple. Well, it hasn't come out. It's early access on Steam. Very fun little application to play tabletop games.
Awesome.
It's cool. $10. $10 Canadian, so I don't even know how much that is in US, like $1.
That'd be like 2 bits.
And I want to take the moment here to remind everybody that even though we talk about it throughout the show, we do offer a video and a audio companion to this podcast. So if you're watching us on YouTube and you're like, hey, you know what? I'd love to hear you on the road. Just go to gonnageek.com, because we do actually have this in podcast format. Or if you're just listening to us and you're like, hey, I want to see their ugly mugs, go to youtube.com/gonnageek. And while you're there, please subscribe to the YouTube channel. The subscribers... it's good for us to have that on there, get a gauge of how many people are interested in our content so we can keep refining it. There is a lot of really good shows on our YouTube channel, including F3G2, which is a quick comic book show, runs about half hour, 40 minutes. And Sebastian, he ends up just reviewing a bunch of issues back to back, a quick few sentence sort of blurb about each issue. So you can check that out at youtube.com/gonnageek. That is going to wrap us up for this week's GonnaGeek.com podcast. For episode 141, I am bowing to the amazing winner, Chris Ferrell.
Bow down before me.
I am not worthy.
I got 1 point, so not so bad.
Bye!
From everyone here at the GonnaGeek.com podcast, thanks for listening. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes. We encourage you to send your feedback by email to podcast@gonnageek.com. You can find all of our show history at gonnageek.com/official podcast. And while you're there, why not head over and check out all of the geeky podcasts on the Gonna Geek Network. The music heard on this show is by Kevin MacLeod of Incompetech.com. Thanks for listening, and we will see you again next week.